Hey, Steve Basic Architect. We're back out here at our farmhouse project. Now, you might have just seen the video that I recently posted where I gave a tour of the first floor, but that was a floor plan tour. I thought we'd do a second tour and we'll talk about some of my favorite go-to materials and products that we're using out at this house. The first one, of course, you can see here, we have the green floor happening, and this is a warm board. It is a hot water radiant floor system. So you're going to walk across this floor all winter long. Your feet will be nice and warm. You can see there's these spaces for the tubes. They're 12 inches on center in here. It's an aluminum facer. It sits on a 7-ply 1.125" floor sheathing that is a direct substitute for your standard floor sheathing. So it's not like you're buying the warm board panels in addition to the floor sheathing. They actually replace the structural floor sheathing that you would have normally used with their product. And then, of course, we have the snap-in lines. As far as the windows go, you can see here, we have a line of Schuco. These are UPVC, which is an unplasticized PVC window. We have a fair mix of fixed windows with operable sashes. They also come pre-wired for security at a really reasonable cost that they put that in at the factory and just send it out with the wire. But again, triple glazed windows. These are white in color, UPVC, probably to the tune of about R7, R7.5. The center of glass is a 0.10 or R10 R value, but the frames are always the worst part of the window. So when you normalize and average the frames against the really good glass, you're probably somewhere in that R7, 7.5 range. The other thing of note here is, notice all of our framing on the outside, we use T-studs. T-studs are a thermally broken stud to the tune of only about 3% of the cross-sectional wood area transfers from the inside to the outside of the T-stud. And then that's coupled with, we have our zip system on the outside. This is an R sheathing. And the R sheathing is such that there is 1.5 inches of polyisocyanurate that is laminated to the inside face of the zip board that creates the zip R board, but that provides a continuous R9 across the walls in addition to our cavity insulation. Here we're going to do a quick flash of about 2 inches of closed cell, and then we'll fill the remaining cavity with a blown cellulose. So we're going to end up somewhere in the mid-30 range on that wall system. For the floor system here, you can see we have an engineered floor joist happening up there. And we also have our friends from Roseburg supplying all of the LVLs that we're using in the project. And one thing to note there is, notice that I tune the headers to the structural load. So in most cases, we have some insulation space. I call them pocket headers. And you can see here, we have about 2 inches left over in that header space. So when they come and do that flash of the 2 inches of closed cell, we'll be able to spray that into that pocket header and get some additional insulation where would normally be a full width wood header in kind of old school framing, if you will. Continuing down here, you can see we have our vast expanse of warm board. There's probably a handful of zones on this floor. They like to keep their loops to under 300 feet, but usually somewhere in like a 250 to 260 foot range is what they found to be the optimal length for their each of their zones. You know, this big space here, again, we have our engineered floor joist, but the success of this big open floor plan is basically this 14-inch steel beam that stretches from that column down there to this column over here. And, that basically helps open up the floor space, which would normally have been some type of bearing wall splitting the house in half, having that open. On the outside here, we'll have a nice deck system to be built, but you can see we have our lift and slide doors here, which are also Schuco UPVC. And you can see how easy it is to basically move that door, given that it's probably on the order of, this one's easily 400, 450 pounds. And then when you bring it in, you can simply just drop it, and then you can't move it. But when you rotate the handle, the door actually comes up and goes up on a set of wheels. And we can zoom in on that and capture that. But you'll see the actual door and see how it rises up onto the set of wheels, which basically allows it. Now, the cool thing about this is I can drop that door wherever I want, and I can't move it. And then putting it back up on the wheels, I can then close it. So again, I really like the Schuco windows. The nice thing about it is will build nice big units. You can see this lift and slide door here. It has a 4.5 foot panel and about an 8 foot by 8 foot panel there. So we can really bring in, that outside in. But anyways, that's a quick tour. You get to see some of my friends, the materials that we like to work with, and the house is coming along. It's being built by our good friends at LDS Construction, and stay tuned for more. We'll have some more tours coming here in the near future.